The FPL game has officially launched, and here is my first draft. All right, we got a couple of bits of information before we actually get going. Here I've got an Opta analysis of the teams with the best opening fixtures in descending order. So Man United, Arsenal with the worst, Aston Villa, Crystal Palace with the best, according to Opta. You can see here, well, I guess, the 5 teams with the best fixtures being Villa, Crystal Palace, West Ham, Burnley, or Chelsea there, Brentford and Chelsea. So those teams, they've got the best fixtures to open up. I'm going to talk about the defence first, and I'm going to kick off just by looking at clean sheet odds. This is courtesy of Elevenify, great tool in terms of fantasy football projection models. We've got Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, Forest, Everton, Villa, Newcastle. You can see the descending order here. But those are the best teams for clean sheet odds. And now we'll get into the defence. On to the bit you're actually interested in, though, the team itself. And I've got to tell you, I don't know if you find the same as me, but it's really hard to pick a team that I'm happy with. So what I've gone for is Kelleher in goal. Now, there are lots of decent 5 million goalkeeping options in the game as well. I'm looking at Sells as well as a potential option, but I do think Forest have, at least with what who they've sold at the moment in Alanga, and I just feel like they've regressed a little bit of Forest. So I'm picking Kelleher in goal as my pick, I think, over Sells. And for me, I don't like spending too much on a goalkeeper because I think between some of sort of the mid-table-ish goalkeepers, there's much of a muchness in terms of their upside. In Kelleher and just the Brentford goalkeeper in general, I think they traditionally, well, they keep like an average amount of clean sheets, but they make a lot of saves. And I think Kelleher's going to be pretty busy and should hopefully pick up some saves points. I've gone for Gabriel, Wan-Bissaka and De Kuyper as my 3 defenders. I've not really paid too much heed, so far at least, to this defensive bonus point system. I was really excited to potentially get Tarkowski in my team, but when I saw he was 5.5 million in the game, I just thought, well, how could you pick James Tarkowski for 5.5 million? I just don't think it's possible. I think Gabriel at 6 million is a great price. Arsenal are always amongst the top teams for clean sheet odds, and it shows here as well. We go back to the clean sheet odds. They are the #1 team for clean sheet odds for the first 6 game weeks. Gone for him, and it obviously offers a bit of goal threat from set pieces. And then it's really me and my opinion on who the best 4.5 million defenders in the game are. I've picked Wan-Bissaka because I think he's going to play most games for 90 minutes for West Ham. They've got a good opening fixtures against Sunderland. And what I would say is he did look really good for West Ham last season as well, did Wan-Bissaka. Really fit into their system. And he got forward a fair bit as well, which I was quite impressed with. De Kuyper, new signing for Brighton, potentially to replace Estupiñán. And De Kuyper, well, he is supremely attacking. And I think there's only one reason Brighton would have brought him in, and it's for that attacking upside. I think he's going to provide quite a lot of it. So I've picked him. On my defence, or on my bench, sorry, not on my defence. On my bench, I've gone for Darlow of Leeds. He is the Leeds starting goalkeeper at the moment, provided they don't sign anyone. So he potentially got a starting goalkeeper for 4 million. Konsa, well, I think Villa are up there with the best fixtures in terms of a start to the season. I think they have the best according to Opta. Clean sheet odds might not be amazing, but they've got the best fixtures according to Opta. And Konsa at 4.5 million, just a regularly starting Aston Villa defender, I think is good value. And then Hickey. A couple of Brentford fans I've seen on Twitter have suggested that he's going to be starting for them. And even though it's Brentford, they have regressed a little bit. I picked Kelleher with them selling a few of their best players. I'm thinking mainly Norgard and Mbumo. I still think Brentford are going to be okay this season, and I back them to sign good replacements for those players as well. So Hickey at 4 million, I think is the best 4 million defender in the game. And I think the starting team that I end up with at the start of the season won't look too much different to this. I might go for a different keeper, but my sort of structure of Gabriel, 4.5 million defenders, and Hickey is probably the way I'm going to go to start the season. Now, I just wanted to say that I've once again partnered up with Fantasy Football Hub. They're busy working away to get their website launched. Now, FPL has been officially launched. That will be imminent. And for the time being, I just wanted to say all of the features that you know and love from last season will remain. AI team rating tool. I'll use Fantasy Football Hub data and statistics in all of my video, including their expected points as well. You can sign up using my link in the description below. I get you 50% off. And if you don't win your mini league, you'll get your money back for your annual subscription. So check that out in the link below. Moving on to the midfield then, and we're going to first start by looking at the projected goals table. Again, courtesy of Elevenify, I'll leave a link to Elevenify in the description below. Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea are the top 3. Spurs in 4th. They've got a really good fixture to kick off the season against Burnley. Arsenal 5th, Newcastle 6th, Bournemouth 7th. You can see the sort of descending order there, with the 3 promoted teams, Everton, Wolves and Forest being towards the bottom. So looking at this kind of data will inform me on the kind of attackers that I want to pick. So then, looking at my midfield, and I've got to say, it's been really tough to pick a team that I'm happy with, particularly looking at these midfielders. This is what I've got so far. Salah, I think he's essential, basically. He's probably the best captain for game week 1. And he broke the FPL point scoring record last season, right? So I think he has to get into most teams. Eze, I was a little disappointed to see Bowen named as a forward. Bowen would have been in this team if he was a midfielder, but, well, you can't really pick him in midfield, at least if he's a forward. Wait and see if I've got him, I guess, as a forward. But I've gone for Eze. He's going to start every game, I think, for Crystal Palace. Likely play good minutes. He's on penalties, free kicks. I just think he's that talismanic figure for Crystal Palace. And it certainly looks at the time being like he's going to be staying. So I've gone for Eze. Palmer, he obviously had a disappointing time from like January onwards. But I do think his performance in the Club World Cup final and just Club World Cup in general will boost his confidence and hopefully bring him back to that prime Cole Palmer that we know and love. In Chelsea, they're amongst the top teams in terms of projected goals, amongst the top teams in terms of quality of fixtures. He is just the absolute talisman for Chelsea. And I think 10.5 million is a reasonable price for him. So I picked Cole Palmer. And also compare him to Arsenal. Saka from Arsenal. I think the Chelsea fixtures are just way better than Arsenal's. So for that reason, I've gone for Palmer. Hudson-Odoi at 6 million. Like I said, I'm not overly enthusiastic about Nottingham Forest, but I think with Elanga leaving, there's a gaping hole in terms of Forest's attack in who's going to take up the bulk of those returns. And, well, leads me to think there's a big void that Hudson-Odoi will likely fill. 6 million, I think, is a great price. They're not the most attacking team in Nottingham Forest, but I think he's probably going to play every game that he's fit for as Hudson-Odoi and should do pretty well for attacking returns, given that, well, they're going to lose sort of the attacking threat that they had from Elanga, and someone's got to take up that slack. And then I've gone for Rodgers. Villa, again, one of the top teams for fixtures. Unai Emery just absolutely loves Rodgers, doesn't he? He's going to play every game, much like he did last season, and I expect him to do really well. I think 7 million is a pretty fair price for him, to be fair. So, yeah, that's my midfield. Like I said, it's been really hard to pick this team. I won't lie, it's been really hard to pick this team. But I think these 5 midfielders are pretty solid. Couple of names that aren't on here, 3 names that aren't on here that I was considering. Bruno Fernandes, I think at some point this season he will emerge as an option, but at 9 million, I couldn't squeeze him into this, right? He's going to be a good option for those defensive contribution points, and of course he's going to get those attacking returns. But I just think with the signing of Cunha and Mbeumo, exactly how he fits in terms of the attacking role that he plays is still sort of an open question. Florian Wirtz, I think, is going to do pretty well for Liverpool. I'm always a little bit hesitant to pick a new signing. They usually need a little bit of time to bed in. With the price tag that he's cost them, though, I think he's going to be playing pretty much every game. But at 8.5 million, again, I just couldn't quite squeeze him into this team. But I think he could be an excellent option. And I was quietly hoping that Sharda of Brentford would be priced pretty reasonably, sort of 5.5, 6 million. But seeing him at 7, I was a little bit disappointed by that. I was hoping that FPL might underprice him with Mbeumo, leaving to Man United, and he would fill that void and be cheap, but he's not. 7 million, I think, is a bit too expensive. So that's the midfield that I've got so far. And finally, my forwards. There's no Haaland in this draft. I do think there are some weeks where maybe Salah isn't the best captain, so you could go for Haaland, but I just think, well, there's 3.5 million in terms of price difference between Haaland and Isak. And it certainly looks like, in my opinion, that Isak is now going to stay at Liverpool with Liverpool signing Ekitike. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. So it looks like Isak's going to stay at Newcastle. He's a pretty much guaranteed 25 goal striker, isn't he, Isak? 20 to 25 goals. 10.5 million. He's 3.5 million cheaper than Haaland. I think with that in mind, you've kind of got to go for him, really. And then Solanke. I'm pretty happy with Solanke. I just think he's a nice, easy, safe option. And I don't think Son is necessarily going to be playing a big role for Spurs this season, which I think leaves a hole for a penalty taker, which I think could well be Solanke. He's probably going to play every game for good minutes. Yeah, I really like Solanke. I think Thomas Frank is going to like him as well, the kind of style of striker he is. He's a hard-working, just solid, evergreen sort of striker is Solanke, so I've gone for him. Captain will probably be Mo Salah for this game week 1. The only other thing to talk about, I guess, is chip strategy as well. I've not actually done a specific section on chip strategy because I've made a video this morning about chip strategy. And whilst I think the comments and points I made on that are fairly valid, with the way that players have been priced up in this game, it's really hard for me to bench boost this team in Game Week 1. In fact, in general, it's really hard for me to make a team that I'm content with bench boosting in Game Week 1. So I don't think I'm going to open up the game by using my bench boost. I'm going to wait a few weeks, I think, see if any value players emerge, maybe play an early wildcard or just look to get them in, and then consider bench boosting after that. But yeah, with the time being, with how difficult the game is in terms of picking a team that you're totally content with, I'm probably going to go with this because I think it's nice and safe. And then as game weeks 3, 4, we get 3 or 4 weeks into the season, some of the value players emerge. That might be when I start to make changes. But for the time being, this is the team I'm looking at. All right, well, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed that and found it useful. It's good to be back, isn't it, with FPL? And I hope you I hope you like the draft that I made. Let me know in the comments. If you don't, I'm always interested to hear different opinions. Just be polite about it in the comments. And yeah, if you haven't already, there'll be plenty more Golden Goal FPL content. Well, FPL content coming out on the Golden Goal channel, so you can subscribe just here. And thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you in my next video.